Something remarkable is happening in Burkina Faso. While the world is busy looking outwards for solutions, Burkina Faso is looking inwards, is looking back to its ancestry, is looking back to its culture and tradition, back to the systems that existed long before modern states were created. So the question is, can a traditional African justice system work in the 21st century? Imagine two neighbors have been fighting for years for a plot of land. In most countries, that dispute can take years. Lawyers get involved, it's expensive, families stop speaking, neighbors stop interacting, and by the time the judgment comes, the relationship is completely destroyed. But in Burkina Faso, something very different is happening. The country has officially recognized a traditional justice system. It is known as Faso Bukaore, a system not built on a punishment first, but on reconciliation, a system that existed long before colonial courts arrived. And today, many Africans are asking, is this the future of the African justice system? We all know courts are often expensive, cases take years, not to mention the emotional turmoil. And many rural communities live far from the formal courts, and sometimes when a case is won, the community still loses because relationships are broken. But Burkina Faso asked an important question. They said, why don't we look back to our past, to our ancestors? How did they used to solve problems? How did they fix things? Under this new law, Burkina Faso aims to establish local traditional dispute resolution bodies in villages and urban sectors across the country. So, if two people get into a conflict, the first step that they are going to take is this instead of going straight to court. So, elders and respected community figures help mediate disputes using local customs and traditions. The goal isn't simply to declare a winner and a loser, the goal is to restore harmony, to restore relationships, to restore peace. And when you look at Africa, many African societies believe in resolving their issues first. They believe when two people in the community fight, the whole entire community suffers. This is not just a Burkina Faso thing. This is across Africa. This is a tradition, and this is what people believe to be true. And we also appreciate and accept that justice is not only about punishment, it's also about restoring balance. And it is extremely important to these communities. Burkina Faso going back to the basics, going back to the drawing board, and looking through their history, their tradition, how their ancestors did it, and coming up with this, or at least passing it to be respected by the law of the country, is admirable. So there's always a conversation of modernization. And when we modernize our societies, it is like abandoning your roots. But Burkina Faso is showing us that you don't have to abandon your tradition, your culture, your ancestors. You can still modernize and move forward while still acknowledging and exercising your roots. And let's not forget, Burkina Faso is one of the first countries to ban the colonial era wigs that their lawyers and judges were wearing because the French and the British did it. No more hideous wigs for Burkinabe lawyers and judges because Burkina Faso has dumped the colonial legal attire. According to reports, Burkina Faso is dumping black gowns and white wigs, the traditional attire of the country's court magistrate and clerks since colonial times. They are no longer going to be used. Legal sector officials will now wear a locally sourced and produced garment made from traditional Burkina Faso fabric. This is incredible. It's not only getting rid of colonial cultures and traditions, it is also supporting the economy of Burkina Faso. This is wonderful. I hope other countries can follow this because especially the wigs are just hideous in my opinion, and I've said this years ago. Good news coming out of Zimbabwe. Zimbabwe
is working towards getting rid of those colonial era wigs that their judges wear, those hideous looking wigs. Zimbabwe said they are going to be taking several measures to reform its judiciary from the colonial era influence, which was oppressive, as it created a structure whose main purpose is to deny the rights and freedom of citizens, safeguard the interests of the elite, and ensure that a certain class is not able to access the court.
Obviously, there's a lot to learn and unlearn and unpack, but this traditional justice system that Burkina Faso is embracing will be decolonizing the nation's legal framework by replacing imported colonial era practices with ancestral methods of conflict resolution. And the decisions that are being made in these villages, in this traditional justice system, is going to be binding. Although it's not going to be a criminal case, it is mostly a restorative justice system. It's about bringing harmony and peace back to the community. And of course, both parties have to agree to do this. If just one person is saying, let's do this, and the other one is saying, let's go to the courts, it's not going to work. Both of them have to agree to use the system. Anyways, fam, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think it's a great idea? Do you think Africans should look into our traditions, our cultures, our ancestors in order to find solutions for our problems? I'm Wongel Zelalem. I'll see you on the next one. Stay blessed. Bye.